Hi everyone, welcome to Yoga with Heini. I'm Heini, and this week I'm going to lead you through a practice for shoulder strength and mobility. So building strength around the upper back, shoulders, also arms, preparing for bigger poses like planks and downward dogs. Let's get started. For this week's practice, you don't necessarily need any props, but we are going to do quite a lot of poses on our knees. So if you have sensitive knees, you could have maybe a blanket or a towel, something to cushion your knees. We're going to start from a seat at the back of the mat. And you could come into a kneeling seat, or you could also sit in a cross-legged seat. What feels easy, what feels comfortable for you to sit in for a couple of minutes. And first, just let your shoulders, your hands, your arms rest in an easy place. Maybe hands on your thighs, so that you feel you could first just take a few easy breaths to start the practice. And as you focus on your breath here, try to keep your shoulders soft. So let your breaths move a bit further down, closer to the ribs, maybe all the way down towards the belly. But checking that when you are breathing in, you're not lifting the shoulders up, but let the shoulders stay soft. Couple more breaths in and out. Just finding that easy, calm rhythm in your own breath. And then let your hands and arms come down next to your sides. We'll do a few more breaths here, but now we start to move the arms. So with your next inhalation, let the arms open sideways up, but still focusing on the shoulders. So trying to keep the tops of the shoulders soft, away from the ears. And then with your next exhalation, bring the arms sideways down. And we'll repeat this another 2 times. Inhale, lengthen arms sideways up. Again, check that your shoulders stay soft. You can also keep your elbows slightly bent if that helps the shoulders. Exhale, bring the arms sideways down. 1 more round. Inhale, lengthen arms up. Feel the arms growing from your back, from your shoulder blades, rather than from the ears. And again, exhale, release the arms sideways down. Breathe in and out. Again, check the tops of the shoulders stay soft. And as we continue the practice, really try to focus on growing your arms from your back and trying to feel into the upper back support and shoulder blades as we move the arms. Now we're going to come into child's pose. So if you are in a cross-legged seat, come sit on your shins and then walk your upper body forward. Walk the hands forward and let your head come down. You could lean your head all the way down onto the mat and keep the arms extended overhead. A bit of activation going through the arms. And from here, keeping hands, keeping arms, shoulders gently active. Lift hands onto fingertips, what we call the cupcake hands. Feeling maybe more activation going through the arms and through the fingers, through the palms. And then spread the palms back on the mat, keeping that same activation going on. Same again. Lift hands onto fingertips, the cupcake hands. And then spread the palms back on the mat. Still keeping tops of the shoulders soft, away from the ears. 2 more times. Lift hands onto fingertips. And then spread the palms back on the mat, keeping that same activation in the hands. Once more, lift hands onto fingertips. Head can still lean down. And then spread the palms back on the mat. From here, walk your hands closer to your knees and lift yourself up into a seat. And if it's okay, stay on your shins. We're going to now interlace the fingers and then turn palms away from the chest. Inhale, exhale, push hands away from the chest, trying to open the upper back. You can lean your head down and inhale towards your upper back, like you're breathing into that space between the shoulder blades. And exhale. Then inhale, reach arms overhead. And here, see how the shoulders feel. You could either keep palms facing up to the ceiling, maybe bend the elbows a bit. Or if it feels better, turn the hands the other way around. You can even make them into a big fist. Now reach hands, arms up, but focus on keeping tops of the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale. And then exhale, release the hands and now bring arms behind the back. And you can interlock fingers behind your pelvis. And then next inhalation towards the chest. Now let that space between the shoulder blades become smaller and let the front side open. Think about space around the collarbones, around the chest bone. Take another breath in. And then exhale, release the hands, release the arms. And now give yourself a hug. Bring hands around the shoulder blades. Another breath towards the upper back, towards the shoulder blades. And then release the arms. And again, just try to soften the tops of the shoulders. Check your neck is soft. And then from here, with your next inhalation, lengthen arms up. Bring palms together. Exhale, bring hands in front of the chest. We go for the first round. First, walk your hands in front of you so you come onto all fours. So we're going to do a progressive practice, and first round is the most gentle. We do this on all fours. We're going to do some shoulder blade press-ups. So hands could be about under your shoulders, knees about under your hips. And first, just gently draw in through the lower belly, checking that we're not collapsed in the lower back, but we are supporting the lower back. And now we're going to keep the elbows rather straight. So we're not going to bend and straighten the elbows, but really focus on moving through the upper back shoulder blades. Keep hands active. You can slightly grip the mat with your fingertips and think about pushing the mat away through the arms. Now, as you exhale, let your shoulder blades kind of slightly collapse towards each other, but in a controlled way. So you're creating a valley in the upper back. Then as you inhale, push the mat away even more, and now slightly round the upper back, kind of opening that space between the shoulder blades. Same again. As you exhale, let your upper back valley a bit. So it's just a small movement coming from the shoulder blades, upper back. And inhale, pressing the hands down. Try to open that space between the shoulder blades a bit. We'll do one more round. Exhale, creating a small dip in the upper back. So let the shoulder blades come closer together. And then inhale, push them wider apart, away from each other. And now keep the arms active. Try to find a center point where you feel that you're not kind of dipping the upper back, you're not rounding the upper back, and just feel that wide support from one shoulder to the other, neck long. Breathe here. Still gripping the mat with the fingertips, pushing the mat away. And then exhale, lean the pelvis back into child's pose. Let your head lean down. And here we'll keep the elbows on the mat. You could have your elbows wider apart. And then Bend the elbows, bring palms, hands together behind the neck, behind the head. And you can still adjust the elbows to be closer together or wider apart. We take a few breaths here, looking for maybe a gentle opening around the armpits. Breathe in and out. And then bring your hands back on the mat and walk hands back to your knees so you can lift yourself up back into your seat. We'll start second round. First inhale, lengthen arms up. Bring palms together. Exhale, lower hands in front of the chest. And when we do second round, again, we walk hands further forward, but this time we come into a kneeling plank, and I suggest tucking the toes under, activating a bit more through the legs. But remember, it's a progressive practice, so if you feel that you'd rather do the same as we just did on all fours, you are very welcome to do the first round again. We'll do same shoulder press-ups. Keep their core engaged. And exhale, slightly bring your shoulder blades closer together, so valleying the upper back. And then inhale, pushing away from the mat, widen that space between the shoulder blades. Same again. Exhale, lower your chest tiny bit down so you can bring shoulder blades closer together. And inhale, widening, opening that space between the shoulder blades. One more time, that third round. Exhale, creating that valley between the shoulder blades. And then inhale, pushing the shoulder blades wider apart all the time. The belly stays drawn in. And then again, find that kind of halfway point where you're not widening, you're not pushing the shoulder blades together, but you have that nice wide support and also space on the front side from one collarbone to the other. Take another breath in and out. And then push the pelvis back on top of your knees. And now we keep the pelvis, the hips on top of the knees. We come into melting heart pose. So you could step hands a bit further forward, maybe open the arms a bit wider apart. And then exhale, let your chest melt down towards the mat. So now we're looking for a bigger stretch around the shoulders. You could either bring your forehead down. You could also bring your chin on the mat. And keeping arms extended is the strongest variation. So if you start to feel it's too strong now for the shoulders, bend your elbows and maybe slide your elbows a bit wider apart. So you could also have your elbows bent, and that often also allows you to then lean head onto your hands, onto your arms, if you feel that bringing head all the way down doesn't feel good. But here, imagine your chest melting down. So again, opening through the armpits. Couple more breaths in and out. Feel free to adjust the arms as you stay longer. Make sure there's no pain. And then slowly and gently start to lean the pelvis back towards the feet, coming into child's pose. Just a brief child's pose. And now I would suggest bringing arms down next to the legs, allowing shoulders to close a bit the other way. Breathe in and out. And then we're going to once more roll the back up and come into our third round. But again, you can do the second round again, or you can do the first round once more. With inhalation, lengthen arms up. Exhale. exhale, bring palms together and lower hands in front of the chest. One more time, walk hands in front of you, and this time you have an option to go into a full plank, so lifting knees off the mat, tucking the toes under, and we're going to do those shoulder blade press ups once more. So doing it in a full plank is definitely the strongest option we have, so feel free to bring knees down or be on all fours if you want. With exhalation, lower your chest just tiny bit further down, so you're bringing shoulder blades closer together, and inhale, widen the space between the shoulder blades, and the movement can be very small. Exhale, bring shoulder blades closer together, and inhale, push the shoulder blades wider apart, and keep your belly drawn in once more. Exhale, bring shoulder blades closer together, and inhale, widen them apart. And then trying to find that midpoint where you feel you're not bringing shoulder blades towards each other, but there's that nice wide space. Breathe in and out. Shaking here is very fine. You can always bring your knees back down. And then we're going to come all the way into downward facing dog. So now feel free to adjust hands and feet as you come into downward dog. Just a few breaths here, and trying to keep tops of the shoulders away from the ears, but keeping still that same activation from fingers to hands to arms to shoulders, and feeling your shoulders dropping away from the ears, and feeling arms growing from your upper back, from your shoulder blades. Breathe in and out. And then exhale, bring knees all the way down on the mat. Come into one more child's pose. Again, you could bring arms next to the legs. You could also bring arms behind the back. Maybe hold hands together and really let the shoulders kind of drop down and in. Couple of breaths in and out. Head can lean down. And then slowly release the arms. Bring yourself up into a seat. And then we're going to come lie down on the back. So bring yourself lying down on the back. Make sure you have a bit of space on both sides, as we're going to come into a twist and some more movement for the shoulders. So now hopefully your shoulders feel strengthened. The arms might feel quite tired. That's very fine. Once you are lying down, lean to lie down on your right side. So bend your both knees. We're going to come into a twist, but first we're going to give movement for the left shoulder. So make sure your right shoulder is comfortable here. If you want, you could bring your right arm under the head as a pillow, and then bring left hand fingertips onto your left shoulder. We start to circle that left arm. So trying to create movement in the left shoulder without loading that shoulder now. So now there's no weight on the left arm, on the left hand. Let's do one more circle. And then from this last circle, open your chest up towards the ceiling and release the arms, coming into a full twist. If it feels okay in your left arm, shoulder, you could open the left arm all the way out to the side. But if it feels achy, tender here, you're very welcome to bend the left elbow so that your hand is maybe resting on your side, or maybe you extend that left arm all the way down. So look for a place where there is maybe a gentle opening around that left shoulder, but it's not painful. You can easily breathe. Take another breath or two in and out here. And notice if the sensations change, if you turn your head to left or right, because that might affect your shoulders as well. Take another breath in and out. And then slowly from that twist, start to slide onto your back. So lifting the legs, the knees up to the center, release arms down. Breathe in and out. And then we're going to do that twist and those shoulder movements to the other side. So now we're going to come lie down on the left side. Excuse me for turning my back to you. If you want, you could have left arm under the head here, so you feel the left shoulder is comfortable. And then bring your right hand, fingertip somewhere on the right shoulder. Start to circle that right arm, allowing the movement to come all the way from the shoulder, from the upper back. So we're still thinking of moving the arm from the back. Couple more circles, all the time, breathing in and out. One more circle, and from this last circle, we'll come into that full twist. So now open your chest up towards the ceiling. Maybe open arms out to sides. But again, feel free to adjust the place of the arms, depending on how you feel on the upper back, how you feel in your shoulders. So again, you could also bring that right arm down closer to your right side. Check that your neck is soft. Again, you might turn head to one side or the other. Give yourself a few breaths in and out. Allow the exhalation soften the whole chest area. Allow the exhalation soften the shoulders. Another breath in and out. And then just like we did on the first side, slowly start to release the twist by sliding onto your back. If you fall off the mat, you can wiggle your way back in to the center. And now open your both arms into a cactus shape so that the backs of the hands are on the mat, on the floor. I'll come a bit more to the center and just gently press the backs of the hands and backs of the upper arms on the mat. We're going to do one more movement, a bridge pose. First, as you exhale, press down through the feet and start to lift your pelvis, lift your back slightly off the mat. And as you lift your pelvis up, you might feel that it's maybe easier to get the backs of the hands, backs of the upper arms on the mat. So feel that connection, that contact between your arms, the backs of the hands and the floor. Take another breath here. And then trying to keep your hands, the backs of the hands, the arms on the mat. Exhale, slowly lower your back, lower your pelvis onto the mat. And this is if there is tightness around the chest, the shoulders, you might feel that it can be sometimes quite difficult to keep that connection between the hands and the arms. So that is a challenge. We'll do this again. So as you exhale, press the feet down, lift the pelvis, lift the back off the mat. And take a couple of breaths here. So keeping a gentle activation through the arms, but tops of the shoulders soft. We just want to keep the backs of the hands on the mat. With exhalation, again, lower the back, lower the pelvis down. Keeping that connection going on. Again, this is where things might feel a bit more challenging. Inhale on the mat. We'll do one last third round. As you exhale, press the feet down to lift the pelvis, the back slightly off the mat. We don't need to do a full big bridge pose. So this is more about the shoulders, the arms, keeping that connection going on. Take another breath in. And exhale once more. Lower the back, lower the pelvis down. And then we're going to release the arms. Give yourself a bit of a hug. So cross the arms around the chest. Couple of breaths in and out, allowing the chest to close a bit. And then we have our Shavasana pose, our resting pose. So maybe stay lying down on the back, or if you want, you could also come lie down on your belly, or you could lie down on one side. Any easy pose where you feel you could rest a moment, especially where you feel you could let your shoulders, your arms, your hands rest. They have done a lot in this practice. And the upper back. So let the upper back melt. And take a moment to breathe here. You might close your eyes. Allow each exhalation to melt away tension wherever you might feel tension now. Maybe it's not in your arms or shoulders. The tension could be somewhere else as well. So let yourself notice the tension and then just let it go. Give yourself a moment to rest. And if needed, you might adjust your pose as you stay longer. Just like with any pose, you can adjust your Shavasana pose. Give yourself a few more breaths. If you want to continue your Shavasana pose, you can stay here longer, as long as you want and need to today. But if you feel that now would be a good time to start closing the practice, start wiggling your fingers, your toes, some gentle movement in the hands and the feet. You could stretch arms overhead along the floor and reach the hands, the feet away from each other. And then slowly release the arms and roll down onto one side, either your left or your right side, and bring yourself up into a seat, into your own final seat. And this could be any pose, any easy seat of your choice. Where do you feel you could still leave your shoulders soft? And give yourself a few breaths. Again, check that you're not breathing up to your shoulders. And as always, at the end of the practice, thank yourself for bringing yourself onto the mat into your practice today. And I thank you very much for joining in. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you enjoyed the practice. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And also, if you know anyone who might enjoy this practice as well and maybe would like to do some shoulder work, please share the video with them. It really helps the whole channel to grow. Thank you for joining in, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.